Have you seen the movie Groundhog Day? I know it's almost 30 years old, and it makes me feel very old, but it's great. Bill Murray's character is the arrogant and selfish Phil. He's trapped in a perpetual time loop that forces him to relive the same day over and over and over again. In his case, it's February 2nd, Groundhog Day. Even though it is the same day, the same big events in it, little choices he makes from the moment he wakes up alter the course of the day. He's trapped. That is until he changes. He becomes more loving. He cares for strangers. His sole motivation is no longer just about to make him and his life better. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, the past 15 months have felt like a maddening case of deja vu. Partial lockdown. Things get better. People complain. Things get worse. Masks and social distancing. Things get better. People complain. Things get worse. Some get vaccinated and masks are no longer mandated. Things get better. People complain. Things get worse. There are children and others in the community that cannot get vaccinated. Increased cases mean more possibility for virus mutations that could endanger even those who are already vaccinated. And my heart breaks because I look around and people are tired, or they just simply don't care. People complain about masks. People complain about getting vaccinated. But let me boil it down. What they're saying is this: my comfort means more to me than the life of someone else. I will not even do the bare minimum to care for my neighbor. This last week, the chief financial officer for the Issaquah School District ranted on Facebook, saying that we need to repeal the protection measures and let the virus run its course. Follow that to the logical end. He's fine with kids dying because it's inconveniencing him. And on August 18th, at a board meeting for the Marysville School District, unmasked protesters shouted obscenities, banged on walls and windows, and engaged in threatening behavior toward board members and district staff. They were in opposition to the state mandate for students and staff to wear masks in schools, and for district employees to be vaccinated against COVID-19. Life-saving measures. And that's our world right now. They're parents, these people are parents and community members. And I find myself suddenly having so much more sympathy for God, wiping out the evil and selfish world with a flood, and starting all over again. Many of these people are Christians. They proclaim to be followers of Jesus. Some don't want to be vaccinated because it would show a distrust of God's almighty power. Or even just a staunch belief that God will magically protect them. As if the vaccines aren't a gift from God already. This is not the vision that God has for us. This is not the way Jesus' reign looks. We are all stuck in a hellish loop, and we are longing to get off. But we're unable to. Today, we're presented with erotic love poetry in the Song of Songs. While our section for today is tame, the rest of the book isn't. It's a great read. I encourage you to read it. Many people who read it for the first time are surprised that it even made it into the Bible. It doesn't mention God, but instead tells of two lovers. It's erotic. It's shocking. And I must say, it is a breath of fresh air. The voice of my beloved, look, he comes, leaping upon the mountains, bounding over the hills. My beloved is like a gazelle or a young stag. Look, there he stands, behind our wall, gazing in at the windows, looking through the lattice. My beloved speaks and says to me, arise, my love, my fair one, come away. Right now, who doesn't want someone to come to them, to beckon them and say, arise, my love, my fair one, we'll escape the struggles of this day, come away. Personally, sign me up. But it's not that simple. It's never that simple. For great periods of Christian and Jewish history, the Song of Songs was only acceptable because it was an allegory. They argued that despite its appearances, it is really only about God and Israel, or God and the church, not two lovers. And this is the mark. It really is about two lovers and their escapades. It is about passion and longing, desire, and most of all, about love. It is about a human understanding of love. And it has to be. We can only understand human love. We are human. This gives it its power. According to the priest and novelist Andrew Greeley, our love, yours and mine, is like God's love. The Song of Songs sacramentalizes it. Human love is a hint of divine love. And divine love is a hint of what human love can really be. In that way, the voice of the lovers is also God's voice to us. Arise, my love, my fair one, come away. Where do you think we're going? Throughout history, when Jewish rabbis started compiling commentaries and analyses of the Hebrew Bible, the Song of Songs was contentious. Some said it defiled the hands because of its risque content, while others believed that of all of the books of the Bible, it was the Holy of Holies. They pointed to the belief that the Song of Songs was a midrash on Exodus. Midrash is a fancy rabbi speak for commentaries that are dug, argued, and wrestled from a text. The Song of Songs, it seems, was written as a passionate, poetic interpretation of the event of Exodus. In fact, the Song of Songs is sung each year at Passover because it is so strongly believed that it is a text which describes the very events that Passover celebrates and commemorates. It relives how the Jewish people were led from slavery and bondage in Egypt to the Promised Land. Through this lens, Song of Songs, as a model of Exodus, shows that passionate human love is a way to find liberation from oppression and freedom from the ties that bind us. It's not actually just a way. It is the only way. Love is the way. Love is the way out. Love is the only way out. The Jesuit Pedro Rupe is attributed to have written this lovely prayer about love. Nothing is more practical than finding God, than falling in love in a quite absolute, final way. What you are in love with, what seizes your imagination, will affect everything. It will decide what will get you out of bed in the morning, what you do with your evenings, how you spend your weekends, what you read, whom you know, what breaks your heart, what amazes you, joy and gratitude. Fall in love, stay in love, and it will decide everything. Rise, my love, my fair one, and come away. God calls. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin said, to every element in the language it can understand. Thus, God lures through its attraction. Thus, God lures hydrogen through its attraction to oxygen. God draws everything else, including each of us, in the same way. And despite all of our selfishness, turning inward, God is relentless. Look, he comes, leaping upon the mountains, bounding over the hills. God is always and everywhere running and gathering people who have been separated from God, who need the love and connection that can only come from God. God is persistent. God is patient. God woos us. God has passionate love for us. Can we say, I love you too? But not so quick. The first letter of John reminds us that those who say, I love God and hate their siblings are liars. For those who do not love a sibling whom they have seen cannot love God whom they have not seen. Only when we are in love with others can we begin to love God. Then, and only then, can we get out of this repeating pattern of hurt and death. It is that simple. What you love changes everything.